Okay, let's talk about information load and whenever we're teaching things, how to keep them from overwhelming newbies or just introducing a new concept and making sure you're not going to burn people's minds up. So we used to have a saying that three is key and one is best. So what that means is teaching three things in a row is the max that you would ever teach somebody. And the easiest, best way to teach someone is actually to teach them one thing at a time. For example, step, cut, and feel would be three separate things. So I step out, I cut, and then I feel the bind. Three completely different things if they do not know how to do those well. So if you have like a newbie and they are just brand new and they're still struggling with stepping and cutting, and then, you know, that's going to be a lot of stuff for them. An intermediate who has those three things down already, then the new thing that you're teaching them is feeling a hard versus soft bind. So that would be your new material. So that's two. So since it's two, then you haven't violated the rule yet. But if you say, all right, is it hard? Is it soft? Here's a hard response. Here's a soft response. You've maxed out and you've gone over. So you're at four now instead of three. So you would want to go hard or soft bind. And if it's, you're going to make sure that we're only working on hard bind for right now, and then now you know what the hard bind feels like, then you have your hard bind response. See how that keeps in the three. You don't want to go hard, sorry, feeling, hard, feeling, hard response, soft feeling, soft response. So you're just going to overload their brain right off the bat. So we keep it simple, keep it within that dynamic. You also want to, if you're teaching something, is to build it up one step at a time. So let's say we're teaching Absätzen with the Absätzen counter thrust or the Versetzen. I keep using those interchangeably. So they should already know how to Versetzen, so I teach them step one, step two, cut, step three, block. Okay? And we work that back and forth until they can do that really well. Then we're going to add the next step, which is going to be we're going to thrust back at our opponent now from our Versetzen. So now we have these three steps: step, cut, block, and then counter thrust. Then once the counter thrust is going really well, then we're going to have the person being thrusted at now defend. You see how this one thing builds off the other. That way when you're teaching a lesson and you notice that everyone is picking up on it and they're doing really well, you can start to add in another thing and then another thing and then another thing versus trying to give them all of that at the beginning and then they're completely fried out. So hopefully this is useful for you. So three is key, one is best. Build off of information they already know or have already done in the drills, and making sure that if you're teaching something new, you're building off of stuff they already know. If they don't already know that stuff, you have to keep it slow and keep it specific. If they can't step, cut, and bind, sorry, step, cut, and feel a bind or just block, then you can only do, okay, now it's feeling, hard or soft, and then that's it, versus responses thereon. Okay? So hopefully this helps out.